Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of Ray's Roll-Up Report. This is your Smackdown Recap for July 11th, 2018. Just to go over a couple of things about the channel, I do want to say thank you for all those people who have subscribed and listened. I do plan on doing more shows. I will be doing a Raw recap, a Smackdown recap, and I will be doing an NXT recap. Also, I will be trying to add a podcast in whenever possible. Also, I just want to say thank you for everybody. I was trying to get some things together, microphone, a mixer, so I really wanted to add quality to my program and to the channel. So, and eventually I will be doing videos as well, but that will be within due time. However, let's just go over the SmackDown recap and let's see what happened. So for those who didn't watch, or for all those who did watch, it wasn't a bad show. I actually thought it was a pretty good show. It's all in what you see. So sometimes there are some people out there who want to just yell and bash and scream, and I'm not about that. I'll let you know when I'm upset, and don't get me wrong, there are some podcasters out there, just because they yell and scream and they might not be what you want to hear, they are giving you a lot of truth. So just because they may do it differently than me, and you'll hear that as I do more and more podcasts, does not mean that they're bad or people should bash them, because they do have some, they actually make a lot of good points, and a lot of what some of these people are saying is actually right. They're just pissed off fans, and they want to see a better product, and I'm right there with them. This is why I started my podcast channel, so I can add my feedback as to what I think it should be and how the show should represent itself. But without further ado, in the beginning of the night, we had Shinsuke and AJ being announced, and then also the Battle of the Sexes matches being announced with James Ellsworth and Asuka. And then Miz started off the show with Miz TV. You know, another Miz segment. It was pretty good. It's always great to see him and Daniel Bryan out there. You know, boy, they really don't like each other. It's so it's so evident. So he had Team Hell No out in the show with him, and it was okay. I enjoyed it. You know, Bryan even said at one point the only thing worse than Miz stirring the pot was his wrestling, which was pretty funny. I'm telling you, these guys, they're definitely destined for a match down the road, and I would absolutely love to see that. But a couple of slip-ups on the mic. Kane couldn't get Bludgeon Brothers out of his mouth correctly, and even Miz himself slipped up on the mic, which was, I mean, he's done it here and there, but, you know, he's usually very solid. But, you know, hey, you know, it happens to the best of us. You'll probably be hearing me slip up. It's not easy as everybody thinks it is. So give these guys some credit. At least they're in front of people. I'm just in front of a TV screen. So, but after that, you know, Kane about to chokeslam the Miz, and then the Bludgeon Brothers come out and lay waste to Kane and Daniel Bryan. Then you had a New Day come down, and then you also had Sanity come down, and it looks like Sanity and Bludgeon Brothers got the best of them, which then was announced there will be a 10-man match later on in the night. Also, we had Shinsuke against AJ Styles, which honestly was, you know what, it was an alright match. It was standard fare. They tend to have pretty good matches, but it was good at first. You know, starting off to be looked like it could be a really good hard-hitting match. Then, of course, Rusev came out with Aiden English, and before the match had started, and they were sitting ringside. And then, of course, Aiden got himself involved in the match and started mouthing off to AJ after AJ hit a beautiful flying forearm on the outside. He likes doing that now. Man, poor guy's hips are going to be horrible when he gets older, but hope he has good medical coverage. But he hit a beautiful, like I said, flying forearm, phenomenal forearm. After that, Aiden got in his face. He blasted Aiden right in the mouth. And then, of course, Shinsuke came up behind him and gave him a nice kick, you know, because he was distracted, the old distraction. And after that, Shinsuke went over and tried to hit AJ with a Kinshasa, and then he'd end up hitting Aiden. Not a good night for Aiden. Aiden kind of had a bad night tonight. After that, Rusev got himself involved as AJ was standing on the ring apron, and chaos ensued, and then Paige came down and made an announcement and said, let's have a tag match right now. And they ended up having a tag match, and they finished it up, and Lord and behold, before you knew it, Rusev ended up getting the win. Now, you had some Jeff Hardy interference, and he came down as well. You know, these are all leading into their matches going into Extreme Rules. But I was happy to see Rusev actually get a victory, landing a kick on both AJ and, excuse me, sorry about that, landing a kick on AJ and to finish off the match. It was unbelievable. And Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy was his opponent, was his partner. So sorry about that. I had a little slip up there. So Jeff Hardy was his partner, and they, he ended up getting the kick on both of them, and he ended up getting the pinfall on Jeff Hardy. So, I know people complain, and I hear them complain, and they don't do this, they don't book this way, they don't book that way. Well, now you got a different show, and you got a different ending. You got to see something new and something different for a change, and I'm sure people won't be happy, and this is why the WWE likes to troll us and likes to play with us and how they do their finishes and their booking. Now, I'm not going to defend them on their booking because it's pretty awful at times. But I do see some glimmers of hope, and they are trying. I give them effort on some of the things they're trying to do. And honestly, I mean, having Rusev go over tonight was the right call, and I think it's about time they start giving him a push. So on to the Battle of the Sexes with James Ellsworth, who I love James Ellsworth, and I'm glad that he's back. I enjoy him. I don't know. He's just so corny and stupid, but I really enjoy his work. And he got to go against Asuka. They had the girls all ringside. The Lumberjacks or Jills were at ringside. A couple of times. This match was what it was. It's a gimmick match. It's just meant to be fun. Of course, James Ellsworth got his butt kicked by Asuka, which wasn't a surprise. He tapped out, and of course, towards the end of the match, he had some spray, and he sprayed it in Asuka's face. She was distracted, and then Carmella, he was holding Asuka, and then Carmella did hit Asuka in the face with her kick, and that was that. So we're going to see what happens with that rivalry. I gotta say, I do like Carmella's work as well. I think she's really improving. Her and Asuka have had, at the last pay-per-view, really had a good match of Money in the Bank. And I have to give Carmella credit. I never was really a big fan of her. I mean, she's, obviously beautiful, and she's very flexible, and she does okay. And then, I'd say the past couple months, I think she stepped up her game a lot, and I have to give her a lot of credit. Obviously, the other girls like Becky Lynch, who I love, I'd love to see them get their shine. But right now, she's the champ. Carmella's the champ, and she's doing a great job with it. And hopefully Asuka can get that title. I still to this day didn't like the way that they made her lose. But, all records are made to be broken. But I just didn't think it was the right time with letting Charlotte win at WrestleMania in a pretty good match. But a story for another day. Also, we had Sin Cara against Aldrade and Cien Almas. And you know what? Cien Almas, for people who don't know, or for the kids that don't know, who don't watch NXT, Cien Almas is a beast. This guy is unbelievable, and he can go. And I tell you what, him and Sin Cara, this could be a great rivalry, and Sin Cara needed something. I mean, this guy was just literally floating around low mid-card and, not doing much. But he does get fan reactions, so, which is nice. And I have to be honest with you, this match was so much fun. From an old school guy, I guess I'm old school now. Like I said, I've been watching since the 80s when I was a kid. And I tell you, I thought this was a great, fun match. It kind of reminded me of those WCW Nitro matches that they used to have, the cruiserweight matches, and they really got you going. And they put it at a good spot. I don't know. I have to say, the booking, in my mind, I think they've been learning how they're trying to get balance. And it showed, and I thought these guys went out and had a great, hard-hitting, fun match, some crazy spots. That Tilt-A-Whirl Frankensteiner, basically, I mean, it was like, it could have been bad. That could have been a disaster, but, these guys, and then Aldrade and Cien Almas hit him with this beautiful elbow. They worked really stiff and hard tonight. I thought they both got their shots in. Really, really hard-hitting match, and, this could be a rivalry. A really, really great rivalry if they play it right. And I think that's something that's missing in wrestling now. You don't see those great rivalries that the wrestlers used to have back in the 80s era and the 90s and the Attitude Era. They had great rivalries that lasted and meant something. And I think that's missing from what they have, the product they have today. So I would love to see more of that. And I think Sin Cara and Andrade and Cien can really have a wonderful, wonderful rivalry against each other, and it could bring out the best in Sin Cara, and it could really bump him up his status as well. And as well as Andrade and Cien, for people who don't see him in NXT, you'll get to see what he's about. And I hope with these guys and him and Drew McIntyre and somebody else, Sanity, they're in another match later tonight, that these guys have the opportunity to be successful, and they set them up for success, which is very important, because, you know, some of these other NXT guys they brought up, they really have, they dropped the ball. And I hope they're starting to see and pick things up now and just keep running with it. But with creative, you know, dirty creative, and I have to say, sometimes I don't have a lot of faith in them over the past couple of years. They really have shown their true colors, but hopefully they're starting to turn the corner. And then you had the last match of the night, which was the 10-man tag, the New Day, with Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane against Sanity and the Bludgeon Brothers. And I gotta tell you, match was okay. It was good. You know, it's always cool to have the 5-man tags. I always like to see them. The end sequence was probably the best part. I mean, there's really not much else to really talk about. You know, you had some, you know, high impact moves, but Kofi going over the top, and I think it was Killian Dane that hit Kofi with this just monstrous running slam, or running dive. It looked brutal. But of course, in the end, Daniel Bryan got the best of Eric Young, hits him with the Bryan kicks and the running knee, and that was basically it. And you know, and at the end, they had him and Kane standing at the apron, at the top of the runway there, and Kane was trying to get the fire going, and I thought that was funny. I thought that was great. So that's basically a recap of the SmackDown of July 11th or July 10th, really. I do want to say I actually enjoyed the show. I like that it's 2 hours. I think that's the way to go. They try and make Raw a little bit bigger, but if it can be if they could put more action into it, I think SmackDown's definitely more of the action show compared to the two. I thought it was well done. I really didn't think it was a bad show. I mean, some people will probably get on and they'll say, "Oh, this show sucked and it was horrible," and I really didn't think that. I actually enjoyed most of the show. I thought it was a fun show. It was, you know, that it was what it was meant to be, and it didn't have to go overboard. And it looks like the wrestlers had fun. And you know, honestly, I really thought it was a great show. That being said, like I said, I do want to plan to do more channels. I plan to get better. This is still a new thing for me, so please bear with me as I try to improve my game and try and let you guys know what I'm about and how I think about things and how I think about wrestling and my passion for wrestling. So please stick with me. I promise you it will get better. Just want to add one more thing. Like I said about the channel, I will be doing Raw, SmackDown, and NXT recaps. I'm going to try and put them out on a weekly basis as much as possible, and I will be doing pay-per-views as well. Maybe even do some live shows, and I will be adding a camera eventually. Just want to say thank you for all the subscribers. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions of what I can do to make the podcast better, please don't be afraid to write it down or make comments, because all that really does help the channel. And I really want to make the channel better, and I want to be able to provide great content for everybody that's listening. So once again, thank you, everybody. That's your SmackDown recap. And tune in the next couple of days for your NXT recap. And I will be reposting that Raw recap as soon as I get a chance. Once again, thank you, everybody, and have a great night.